Page 76, Olympic Procession. Gives a little more practice than second inversions. Frankly, I don't see anything big deal about them. They are what they are, so okay. I'd like to talk about this piece. There's nothing really new here. I just want to point out a few things. Second line on page 76, it's the rhythm. You're going back and forth between a triplet feel and just a regular feel, whatever that means. But there in the first measure of the second line there on page 76, it's 1, 2 enda, 3, 4 enda, or you think enda all the time. 1 enda, 2 enda, 3 enda, 4 enda. 1 enda, 2 enda, 3 enda, 4 enda. 1 enda, 2 enda, 3 enda, 4. So you just make sure all your triplets are right there in time and you'll be fine with it. This is a good exercise in triplets. I like this. It's too bad they don't do it in both hands though. You really need it in both hands. Over on page 77, we'll start with the third line down on the maestoso. Just a little bit on the fingering because they're not showing you much of anything. I get the feeling they want you to use 1 and 5 for everything, and that's okay. And this is a fortissimo. This is a really loud, fancy procession. It's like, reminds me of the old epic movies with the Romans, you know, coming home from battle and they're all triumphant, and this is like it. So you have a 1-5 here, and then a 1-5. Just remember that your hand is not exactly in the same spacing all the time. You have to adjust it. So just be aware of that. For instance, the first one is an AE, and then a BG. Well, the B is 1 note up, but the G is 2 notes up. So be careful. And then that last measure there on the third line, there on 77, it starts out okay, and then you got to come up. And you'll be fine. Fermata at the end, I'm going to hold for 8 counts instead of 4, because that's the way I do it when I play with a metronome. Now, it's a slow march. So I don't know how slow that is. I don't even know if you get any recordings of this, but it's just, you have to picture people walking. They're not in a hurry. It's a staccato, and I tend to use an arm staccato even though this is soft. An arm staccato or an elbow staccato is where the whole hand comes down. The whole arm comes down. It's not just this. I suppose you could do this if you wanted to, but on this thing I tend to do that. This is more for loud things and this is softer things, but I just like to do this. It's fun. So that's what I'm going to do. I just got to do it softly. So I'm the elbow is the hinge and you come down. Now the wrist is not stiff. The wrist is giving. It's like a shock absorber. It's absorbing some of the harshness in the sound, really. You kind of bounce off the keys. And you got to keep this down under the right hand because the melody's in the right hand. Sort of thing. There's a simile there on the first line on page 76 there in the last measure underneath the stuff. Simply means keep doing what you're doing in the left hand, which means staccato. So just play them all staccato, except maybe half notes and whatnot, but otherwise play them staccato. Even if you have the pedal down, still use the staccato technique with them until you get over to page 77. When you get to the last 2 measures of the second line, forget the staccatos anymore. Now you're just big. So from then to the rest of the piece, I wouldn't play the left hand staccato. There's no point. You're just really loud. So go with it there. There are accents in the right hand. We need to hear the accents. It just helps a little bit with it. This thing builds. It starts out softly at the beginning. And second line in the middle of it, it goes up to a medium loud, not a lot. It's just a little bit louder than soft. louder than you were at the beginning, but not much. And then the pedal and all. Then at the bottom of the page 76, in the middle of the line, now you go up to loud. And the pedal's helping you a little bit, not much, but a little bit here. And then at the top of page 77, you're going up a little louder. And then on the second line of 77, you go a little louder until finally you're fortissimo on the third line. That's loud. Well, it's very loud, is what it is. Not as loud as you can get. You can get louder than this, but it's loud. And you'll stay there to the end. So it builds as it goes through, and that's kind of important. I'd like to try this out. Pedaling wise, pedal it the way they're showing you is fine. There's no big deal. And we're going to take it slow, of course. So C major, it's in common time, 4/4 time. So I'll give us 4 counts. Let's try this. Left hand's here, right hand, foot's on the pedal. We're ready to go. 1, 2, ready, go. hold, 2, 3, 4, off. I don't know if there's any recordings of this. I might play it something like this.